s&djr. This is the second part to my short series on how I build my hills and my layout. So I did the first video a few days ago now, and I had to let the paint and all the PP glue and everything go rock solid, absolutely fully dry before I could do the next stage. So what I've done is I've put on a layer of this poster paint. Now it's not all over it. Any places that are facing away from me or are rather steep, I've left as darker grass, and anything that is facing towards me or not very steep at all, I've left as I've painted in this colour here. I then just picked up a paper towel and I dabbed over the whole of it. Reason being, I wanted to give it a bit to remove some of the paint and to give a bit of a surface, basically. That's just something I do. It's not very important. You don't have to do it at all. Now, the next thing I need to do is work out what this is going to be, what it's going to look like. So I've thought of a little idea, and the first thing you may have noticed is the colour here and the colour here are two very, very different colours. This is a lot darker, this is a lot lighter. So what I'm going to do is, to solve this problem, stop the clash, is there will need to be a hedge or a fence or a row of trees or something just here. Now I'm just going to do, at the moment it's going to be a hedge, there may be a tree or something stuck in the middle of it as well, a little bush, something like that. Now basically the way I do my hedges is quite simple. You just grab a pot, actually a little bit of glue, okay then. So I should have done that before I started this video, but I wasn't really thinking straight. So yeah, basically, now there's two ways you can apply trees and stuff. One is you put glue down first and then stick the bushes or everything onto the glue, or you can do what I do, is I take it out, work out the size I want, I then dab it and I drop it into the glue and then stick it on. So let me just adjust the camera slightly. Right, there we go. So it's what you do is this bag here, literally, so it's got lots of different sort of textures in it. For instance, you can just about see my finger is, that's a lot finer, and just here, it's not quite as fine, it's a bit more sort of like overgrown. So what I'm going to do is I need to try and pick out a large chunk. This stuff rips very easily, so that's what I do is I rip it. Then the next thing I do is get into smaller bits. Then when I get to this stage here, I then start to shape it. Obviously, this is a hedge, so it needs to be quite long and thin. And you, depending on if it's going to be a man-made hedge or a natural hedge, depends on how thick you make it, how square, how rough you make it, and then drop it in the glue, and then just place it on. So yeah. Okay. As you can see, that's started. It's about the same size, so it looks like a very old man-made hedge. It looks like, is what I'm going for. Is it used to be square and nicely cut and maintained. It's not anymore, so it's grown out, and it's changed shape, and it's gone a bit more wild. So I do it with my final piece. Now the main reason why I prefer to drop this into the glue and then stick it down is when you come to stick it down, you're actually sticking the lichen onto other pieces instead of just onto the board, and it holds itself together a bit better, is what I find. So, and there we go. Right, now then, it's quite simple. If I remove this light, it may work a bit better. Oh, that looks a bit easier to see in the camera. There you go. As you can see, I've now got the start of a hedge there. Now the next thing to do is to fill it out, basically. For instance, there's a little bit on the right on the end, which your camera probably won't pick up, but if you're at my angle you do. It's not quite as high as the rest of it. Straight in there like that. Very easy, and we are done. So, now what that hedge is doing is it's splitting this field up here from this hill here. It does now mean that it doesn't matter too much that there's a slight colour clash. The other thing which is going to hide that is I'm going to be using some static grass on the surface, so that will hide it again. So I can't show you the static grass because I haven't got a static grass applicator at the moment. I haven't decided if I'm going to build one yet or if I need to buy one, but I find them quite expensive to buy. So anyway, yeah, moving on. The next stage would be the static grass. As I haven't got the static grass, I'm just going to carry on and put the static grass on later. This makes no difference at all which order you do it in. So I'm going to have to change my idea slightly. What I was going to do is have this white patch in the middle. Move the camera over. This white patch in the middle, which you saw in the first video, I said I'd tell you what it would be later, is it's going to be a viewing point, the highest point of this hill. And I'm not sure if I'm going to build maybe a little tower there, or ruins, or just like an observation post or something like that, but that's what's going to be on top there. So all I've done is I've given it a quick, very light green coat. That there will need to have a grey coat on top of that as well, and then most of the grey paint removed, leaving the green showing through, and it gives it a dark green sort of mossy sort of look. So that's the next thing. But what I was actually saying before that is my original idea was to have a path trampled down. So what you do is you put up your static grass, and then you just take the other end of your paintbrush, which is a different shape, which is a nice curved shape, and I just run it through when the glue's still wet. Doing that, it creates like a trampled down path, and the grass gets all flattened and goes everywhere. It looks quite good, I think. So instead of that, is what I'm going to do is I will be working out where this path will go. It's probably going to go, looking at it, down this side here, and then another path going down that side there. And these paths will come off the board in this bottom corner here, just off camera. One will come off here, and the other one will come just off camera at the bottom corner. The reason I'm doing that is it means I don't have to build any crossings or anything over the tracks, which is it's quite a bit of work to do the way I do it using polyfill, because you have to remove polyfill and stuff like that. So I'm going to get on with the next stage, a little bit of painting needed, and then I'm going to carry on with a bit more detail. Right then, yeah, as you can see, I've done a little bit of work. I actually changed my mind about creating sort of gravel, concrete path, wooden paths, and I did decide I wanted the flattened grass sort of look of a path. So I thought I had a little think. My first idea, which didn't really work, was to get some of this static grass and to instead of using the static to put it on, was just to get like a salt shaker or something like that from what I'm not quite sure what it is, and I shook it on and it went flat and it didn't stand up, and it looked quite good, but it somehow didn't look quite correct. It was all too sort of perfectly flat. So instead what I decided to do is, as I said, this here would be a high point, these two here would be high points, so they need to have paths going up to them. So what I did is I quite simply got a brush. Now this brush here is the original one I used for glue, and if I show you, you can see it's been bent on a bit of an angle, and it's actually stuck like that. That's how the glue is set on it. So what I do is I use the top tip where it goes back, where it's right on the tip, where it's going on the top edge, right there. I use that, just that bit there, dab it in the glue, and you can create paths quite accurately, as you can see here. Now once the paths have been glued down, I then use the grass scatter that I've got in two different colours, which you've seen before hopefully if you've been watching my videos. As you can see, this here is just dark green. Dark green is little bits of grass sort of thing, and I've also got light and mixed green. This one here is light and mixed. It gives more of a meadowy sort of look to it. So instead of using static grass, I thought let's use that and see what that looks like. And I don't think it's come out too bad. I think it looks quite nice. Around this, where you see green, that there will have long meadow static grass placed on it. And in areas there is going to be maybe sheep or something like that is what would be grazing on this hill. So is what I need to put is a few stiles, a few little gates and stuff on the paths, especially down at this end here, this here, and here and here. They all need to have a gate. Then there's going to be a wooden path going, a wooden fence running from this top corner back down to the river, and it's going to run up the hill, following the line, where it's going to cut across, go all the way around, and meet up here where it's going to follow this line back down until we get back down to the bottom here where there'll be another gate. So that gives an enclosed area where I'll be able to maybe get some sheep, a few cows, something like that, and leave in the field. And then that creates a path, paths in a field, animals around it. If you guys know anything about around where I live, there's a place called Glastonbury Tor, a couple of miles from me. Actually, it's a little way from me, but still. And I went up there a few weeks ago now with a few friends and stuff, just to see what it's like. And this is the sort of thing where I got the idea from the hill from. Basically, on top it has a tor, and then there's paths going down it all over the place. There's about 3 or 4 different paths going down to the bottom. So that's the sort of thing which I've got here. A few paths leading down. Now, the only thing I haven't got is a path going to the other side. The reason I haven't really bothered with that is because there's obviously a track there, and it's very unlikely that people would just walk through a field, over a fence, over a track, over another fence and into the field. It's more likely that they would get out and follow the actual paths. So instead of them going over a track, I've designed it there where I'm sitting. If you've been watching a previous video, I said I'd be building another hill to cover up this space. Now on that hill, these two paths here will meet into one, about down here somewhere, and this path here will eventually come to the same spot further down the hill, and there'll be a car parking area, maybe a little cafe or something like that down the bottom. That's the sort of thing I'm aiming for. Now this here is basically finished now. I can't show you the static grass and how it's applicated because I haven't got it, the application at the moment. So part 3 of this video will probably come as part of a future update on the layout. Because I can't really do much more to this at the moment. Now obviously there's a few little bits I can add, bushes, hedges, maybe a few trees, things like that into the layout, and all you do for that is you need to get a nail or a sharp pin or something like that, and as this is cardboard and paper mache, if you very carefully push into it, move a pin around and slowly go up to big until you get about a nail size, you then can create a nice hole which allows you to just basically fill with glue and stick a tree in. That's the easy way. And the nice thing with paper mache and using polystyrene or cardboard is you can just create the hole and stick the tree in. It's a lot easier than if you use polyfiller, or I'm not quite sure what it is, but basically it's a cloth that when you dip in water creates the covering. I'm not if you probably know what I'm on about. But yeah, the problem with that stuff is when it goes hard, rock hard, you can't plaster cloth. There we go, I knew I'd remember it. Plaster cloth. The problem with plaster cloth is once you've made it and put it down on hard, it's very hard to create a hole in it, a neat hole in it, and to go down a few layers because it creates a very solid surface, but this surface here can be pushed into quite easily. So anyway, yeah. What will be happening next? Well, I'll be going back to my usual updates. At the moment in the line I've got my turntable being built. I've also got to start building my helixes. Unfortunately my cutter jigsaw decided to stop working yesterday, so I've been able to do only about half of one of the helixes, which is a little annoying. When I've got a new one, I should be able to finish off my helixes, and that'll be coming up in an update soon. I'll hopefully be able to get a full layout made that I can run a train on. So yeah, another thing I was going to ask is if anyone has any ideas for good locos. Now, I haven't got a massive amount to spend on them. I was looking mostly at a second-hand DCC, so if you have any ideas of nice locos, just leave them as a comment. Somebody has already recommended 2 diesel locos to me, which I'm having a little look at just to see what they're like. So yeah, if you like my videos, then please subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments, just leave them below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.